Welcome, everyone, to San Antonio by Night, The Oncoming Storm. Episode 6. Last we left off, the coterie, known as the Host, did a few early night errands, such as feeding, such as getting advice, such as preparing themselves in their well-tailored suits in order to get ready for a meeting between Baron Batista and Baron Delgado. Delgado being their own Baron, and Batista being the potential ally against the Camarilla. Our coterie made their way to the Tower of Americas, the common meeting place for Baron Batista within her domain in downtown. And shortly after arriving, and shortly after the conversation between the two barons had started, Baron Jameson, the third ruler in this city, barged in unannounced, uninvited, and sat with the barons to try and discuss more with them about what was going on. We meet the coterie the same night, shortly after an incident in which one of Benji's new rivals, Rascal the Nosferatu, under Baron Jameson's rule, turned to ash by Benji's hand. And so now we gather the thoughts of the three kindred we follow for this chronicle. Their thoughts on what's just happened, their thoughts on Jameson barging into the room, their thoughts on the future. Benji, how does it feel? That taste of Vitae on your lips.
It's disgustingly sweet. It's like probably the better liquor I've ever had. Never knew I needed or wanted. God, fundamentally I know it's wrong. But there was something about it that's just so right, and I need to be careful about that. It's like a gnawing in the back of my head now. Hunts are going to feel a bit different. I just need to let it off over time. Regardless, we have an advantage now. I want to make use of it. I promised some fellas back down in Jameson's territory that they would get 100% cut, and all they'd have to do is just follow my lead. Agree to me coordinating where they're going. I just need to talk to Delgado. See if he'd be willing to make that arrangement. If anything, I could probably frame it as security. And even more so than that, I can... If things don't work out with Amber, getting this guy, then maybe this could be another route. We'll see.
Yes, this pesky police detective, Deacon Johnson. That's been the mortal that's been the talk of the room ever since he was brought up. Amber, you had some plans to try and track down this particular mortal on Urien's behalf.
I do. I just need to gather my thoughts first.
Benji just ripped the neck off of a Nosferatu. What is your thoughts?
I could, if it wouldn't tax me to do so, I would be exceptionally aroused right now. That is just wow. But enough about that. I can save my twisted perversions for later. Right now, I have some work to do. Get some mingling done. Talk to some people. Make some new contacts. And then get on to moving on with these plans, getting rid of the problem that this deacon poses, and then maybe, if I play my cards right, I might be able to weaponize him against Father Trent. Because one thing I don't mind is freedom of religious expression. What I do mind is when some little Catholic upstart decides to proselytize. If you can't sell your creed off its own merits, that's not really worth following, is it? But that's just a little bit of philosophical positing that can be left for later. Right now, I have some people to talk to and some fantasies to suppress.
Fantasies to suppress. And then we have Urien, the man who declared that Rascal was a Camarilla spy. In front of all of the barons. Watching as Benji sunk his teeth into a sweet morsel, what are your thoughts?
Well, let us say that there are certain inalienable truths that one must consider. One of which is that for most people, and this is to the shame, be it kind or kindred, it isn't. The importance is never in the truth. The truth is, I have no idea on how guilty Rascal was. And as the room has demonstrated, as the three barons have demonstrated, it did not matter. One wished to end up showing the flux of power. The other one needed to be the diplomat. The other, when painted in the corner, needed to make sure that they were unable to be implicated in such an atrocity. So sooner he would kill his own comrade, rather than allow his name to be sullied. The truth was never a concern to any of them. The truth was not a concern to anyone in this room, and it is because it never mattered. Let that sink in. It is a lesson. I look to Benji now, and Amber. Benji, I predict will need to come to grips with his own shadow soon. It is true that many of us as kindred wish to be powerful, to enjoy life, to enjoy this existence, and in order to do that, we need a certain degree of safety. Safety is in power, and the more power you gain, the more enemies you make, the more power you will need. This perpetual cycle. In Benji is a contradiction he will need to come to grips to. But when he is ready, we will have that discussion. With Amber, I've promised a chance, an opportunity to be useful. The task that has been given to her will be difficult. Her failing it, I've already planned for that. I am hoping that those plans will not be required. But let's see what she can do. Give her a small amount of power to exercise her own ability. Truthfully, my mind goes elsewhere. With all the concerns of this barony and court put aside for now, and the Camarilla a small ways away, I instead plan to spend an evening with my child. I think it's time to focus on the important things. Power is one thing, but what it affords you is the more important. After all, I am not the important figure here. That would be Delgado, that would be Benji, that would be Amber, that would be Jameson, that would be Batista. Me? I am nothing.
Simple
I've
fly
been
on the
that-
wall.
Been nothing for far too long.
And we rejoin our coterie at the Tower of Americas. In the restaurant atop this glorious view. After everything has kind of settled down a little bit, this is the scene we see. Benji has removed Rascal from the board and is dusting himself off of the remains of his rival. Urien kind of standing aside, clapping. The Baron's simply looking at all of you. Delgado, there's a small smirk. He looks a bit pleased. Jameson looks a little bit uneasy in his seat. But it's Batista who speaks up. Well, now that that ugliness is out of the way, shall we get back to business? And Delgado and Jameson just both look back at her and continue continue to discuss. One of the topics being this mortal. Batista starts to ask the other two if they've heard of this mortal and their possible connection. It seems that I am not nearly as familiar with this as with the San Antonio Police Department as I should be. What can you tell me of this man? She kind of posits to the rest of the room.
He is a officer in good standing. I will assign it as a priority to have him dealt with. I don't think such an investigator would warrant being thrown away. Not with what's about to happen. The fact that we know of this contact could be vital. Simply blinding them does us no good. We must have control over that small situation, and you have far more pressing matters, my barons. Allow Amber a chance to interweave this yet little nuisance, and we will consider the matter closed.
You believe that you have the resources to be able to halt any information going towards the Camarilla in this regard?
I believe Amber has the resources to funnel information that would force them out of hiding. One thing for them to be blind, another for them to be controlled.
Then controlled is the state that we want.
And Amber, do we have your assurance that you can get it done?
You have my assurance.
That it is. Then any information that you have in regards to that, or any assistance that you may need, please feel free to contact Fisk, and I will lend my aid.
Honor be, then, to you, dearest Baron Batista.
Jameson kind of pipes up, and if you need muscle in any regard, you always have the backing of our barony.
It's very much.
Oh, go ahead.
It is very much appreciated, Baron Jameson. She bows her head respectfully.
You see that Dren kind of steps up towards the group a little bit. In regards to how the Camarilla will be coming to this city, we all know that Dallas is north of us, and that Austin stands between us and them. It is, in my opinion, that they would be coming by airport to avoid any anarch resistance that they may be seeing through Austin. If the anarchs got word in Austin, that is.
Correct me if I am wrong, Hedren, but the airport falls under Batista's control, does it not? Being an expert in hospitality and newcomers coming to visit the sites. It would be of your interest to end up having some pull amongst them, would it not?
And Batista pipes up, "It is a joint effort."
Well,
I tend to agree.
as much as it may be a short-term sacrifice, accidents do happen. After all, we're here for the long game, are we not?
We are.
Speak the words, and we will do as required for our great city. And honor our Baron Delgado.
Baron Delgado just kind of nods at you. Well, at least we have some ideas as to how it is that we're going to keep them from interfering in our night-to-night lives. So, I must retire for the night.
Your presence has been appreciated, Baron Jameson. And if I may, Kenneth Mariani, I would look forward to speaking with you two on more friendly terms. Perhaps we can avoid the mistakes that were well, that resulted in a messy first meeting. I would appreciate it.
Kenneth simply nods.
I look forward to it. Let it be known that Kenneth and Mariani are welcome in amongst sanctuary. That they are welcome guests of hospitality. Seek me out and leave your mark. I will know it when I see it, and as you will know mine.
The room is still for a moment. And Jameson and his entourage go to leave.
Oh, one thing,
Yes.
Jameson.
Yes.
Pardon my obstruction. Rascal, you see, had a bit of a group underneath him. Due to the nature of the circumstances, I believe I made a deal with these people that I might take them under my wing. I thought I would let you know.
Benji, make me a wits plus insight.
That might not be good.
You never know. You see the slightest of grimaces, but it quickly fades. Alright. You want a small piece? I I need someone to take over duties for a moment until I get someone to replace him.
If I may, I've earned their favor.
All right. See what you can do to get yourself established. Do what you need to. But I don't plan
Absolutely.
on having that position empty for long. You're temporary.
Certainly not. My intention is, I believe that they can serve some security for San Antonio. At least as far as the underground functions.
Well,
I appreciate your time.
just let me know where you're putting them.
Benji does a nod.
And
Will do.
Jameson and his entourage move toward the elevator. And are out of sight. Going down.
Cool. Now Benji turns to Delgado and Batista. He has his hands folded behind his back. If I might, my baronies, as I mentioned, I believe this group can serve as some degree of security. They can watch over the neighborhoods for us and keep eyes out for similar situations such as this officer. If I might, I was hoping I could earn your permission that I might deploy them out into your neighborhoods as well, if the needs serve it. If it serves our needs.
That is certainly negotiable, Batista says. We definitely need some degree of separation between us and the Camarilla. So security and information is very much in high demand right now. We will also be reaching out to anyone that we know that is independent of our baronies. See if we cannot sway them to our side. They tend to keep to themselves.
That would be favorable. For sure.
It shouldn't be difficult, though. Delgado just kind of sits for a moment, thinking about it, thinking about what he could do to persuade Batista to allow such a thing. Well, there's much still to discuss, but I think this is a good first start, he said. Perhaps we should adjourn for a couple of nights and see where it leads us. Batista simply nods and looks to the rest of you. Feel free to mingle, but I shall be retiring to my office.
As always, it has been an honor and a pleasure.
It's been an honor and a pleasure seeing you all as well. And she gets up with Albert closely pulling the chair behind her. Jaden over at the host station also comes down this way and follows her back towards the kitchen. What do you wish to do?
I'm going to allow Amber and Benji to take the point here.
Baron Delgado.
Yes, Mr. Cortez.
I appreciate the time you've made for this. And I appreciate you inviting us to this, more than anything.
It has certainly been an eventful evening.
It has been. Regarding that particular group. Fundamentally, they work their eyes and ears in the underground networks of society. And they also functioned with Rascal initially. I think, provided there might be some lingering attachments.
Lingering attachments. Do you think there could be more information leaks?
Potentially. As far as Rascal's contacts went. Part of this would be, well, part of the security that I had in mind was generally having an eyes and ears on that. Though, as mentioned, the degree of detachment serves a purpose. Before anything gets to you, any bad connections, any bad sort of issues arrive, I'm happy to serve as your first line of defense.
That's much appreciated, Mr. Cortez. I look forward to what it is that you can build there.
Thank you, Baron Delgado. Benji looks over to Amber and he smirks. And then he looks over to Urien. And also does a little proud smirk.
Well, might I end up if everything is settled, I will wait, or I will escort the Baron back to his vehicle.
We do adjourn for the night. I have one consideration to bring up. Pardon my intrusion. But
Speak up, Mr.
Benji is correct in that we do not know the magnitude of information leaking to the Camarilla I mean, if there is one, then there must be more.
That's
So,
usually how this works.
and if there is, I'm not sure if we, whilst I can deal with our currently identified threat, I am not sure that we would be able to redirect them all in a personal manner. So an idea came to mind. It seems that some of the Nosferatu in the city, if Rascal was any proof, like to carry themselves with loose lips. Maybe we should give them something to talk about. Why attempt to curate the people when we can curate the information?
Certainly an interesting thought. Contact Bjor. See what he thinks. Sorry, I said contact Bjor and see what he thinks. If there's a rumor monger among us, it's him.
And maybe it might be good to put that little rumor mill to some work.
Alright. Well, Mr. Doyle, I am feeling the need to retire.
I imagine most are. He walks behind and pulls out the chair for Baron Delgado.
And Baron Delgado goes toward the elevator.
Urien will join him, giving Albert and Dren an appropriate nod. He's not forgotten about them, but he's gotten the impression nothing needs to be said between him and Albert. Him and Dren will be speaking soon enough.
Simply give you a long nod in return, in acknowledgement. And you and Baron Delgado make your way toward the elevator, leaving Benji and Amber to discuss with Albert and Dren if they so desire. If there's more to discuss.
I mean, I think it might be a good idea to learn a little bit of about our northeastern counterparts. It's always good to, be in the know about people. Especially considering I was talking about the control of the flow of information all of 2 minutes ago.
Benji lets Amber take the lead. He walks beside her and waits for her to introduce herself first.
Yes, I will do that in just a moment. I just heard cats attacking each other. So I need to deal with that real quick. One moment.
Oh.
Okay.
Just runs the cats clapping.
In the meantime, Urien, was there anything you wanted to say to Baron Delgado as you're traveling down the elevator?
I hope that had ended to your satisfaction, Baron Delgado.
As I said before, certainly interesting.
Well, I did promise you entertainment.
Certainly well entertained.
Do you have any concerns over what has transpired this evening?
Well, the biggest concern being obvious, Mr. Doyle. The fact that they have a personal vendetta versus you is concerning.
I am the excuse, that is all. Let us be honest with ourselves. If it was not me, it would have been someone else. At least this time they end up having something that is, well, legitimately frightening them.
I'm not entirely sure that I'm familiar with how things went down in Jackson. I've heard the basic rumor. It's not a first-hander's experience.
We used grenades, pipe bombs, Molotov cocktails, chains and crucifixes. We would torture Maria for weeks at a time. Force them to devour whatever mortals they might have, well, had any pleasure in knowing. I once knew of a hound who was very careful to end up preserving his lineage. He'd follow his mortals, well, descendants. We buried him in a boxcar with everyone. And he had a choice. Either he'd watch them all starve to death trying to breathe through a garden hose, succumb to his beast and eat them all, or kill them all in order to reduce their suffering. Then we left him down there. I think about 2 months later we poured gasoline down that same garden hose and lit it aflame. Trapped in a giant steel coffin with the corpses of all of his descendants, rotting, now burning, right along with him. That's how we did things in Jackson, my Baron.
Then I'm glad that you're on our side.
You can thank Tyler for the inspiration.
Tyler.
Surely you know of Tyler, the
I have heard.
mythical figure. I never saw her.
Have you heard that Jameson is supposedly a descendant?
I did not.
It's an interesting little rumor. Not sure if it's true.
I'm sure every Bruja will want to end up making that claim. Still, I know this much. When it comes to removing Camarilla, when it comes to putting them all out, we didn't show an ounce of mercy. We reveled in it truthfully. You see, they were an enemy. They were an enemy to be butchered and devoured and left screaming. After all, it's what their elders deserve. Me, I was just lucky enough to be involved in a coterie that got ahead past the failing tip of a spear. And now they're all dead. Everyone I ran with that night did. And I am one of the final stains to be removed. So, the Camarilla does not need to acknowledge the failing of Jackson, for they have committed an act of genocide across its entire line. Everyone who stood. It's still an anarch city now, but those who were responsible for its final fall, well, I imagine most of them have been devoured, or burned, or beheaded. I still remember the screamings, crucifixion, to wait the dawn, and the begging. It seared into my mind, my Baron. And I have to maintain a demeanor amongst those around me, so I never need expose them to that level of violence, if needed. But with the Camarilla returning, well, I am the devil, apparently, and I do bring hell.
With that, we'll cut back over to Amber and Benji. Amber, you wanted to speak with your counterparts in this little room. It's mostly empty restaurants.
Yes.
Save the four of you.
Well, I mean, now that the adults are away, the kids will play, as they say. And she would look to the two, Albert and Dren, and she will acknowledge them, and she smiles and she's like, Albert and Dren, was it? Come, sit. If we are to be allies, as the enemy of my enemy is my friend and all of that, we should discuss, learn a little more about each other. Who we are, what we offer, what we can do for each other.
Ren kind of looks you up and down, acknowledging that you are a very beautiful specimen of Toreador in front of him. Not that he knows you're Toreador. Yes. I am Dren Shehi. And predominantly, I look over what goes on at the airport. And in the auto industry.
The auto industry, that's actually very interesting. I think I might need to have a little personal conversation with you.
If you would like.
That can happen when it happens. For now, I think I would like to speak candidly about the magnitude of what it is that is going to have to go on in the city over the next little while. As I said, if there is one, there is more. This officer. We have no idea how much Rascal spoke, how much he was feeding, how loose-lipped he was, and to who. So, my idea is, let us plant the seeds of deceit in the rumor mill and watch as they are milled into something Camarilla can chew on whilst we go about cutting out their little hooks.
I'm sure that's not going to be a big issue, seeing as the masquerade is about lies. It's about deceiving all of the kind, using the kind to then deceive kindred.
Oh, of course, but the thing is, this goes beyond the kinds of lies that one must weave to maintain the masquerade. It's easy to lie to the kind. It's easy for a kind to lie to kindred if they don't know what they're lying to. But in this, we deal with a different breed of problem. Kindred lying to kindred. Those in the know lying about those in the know and their activities. And it has come to my mind that whilst I will be dealing with this officer, this deacon character, I am not aware of how much he knows. Which means, whilst I can assume he's not kindred, I cannot assume that he is not aware of this. As such,
I suppose you're already on that task.
I am. But I think, as we are speaking here candidly, that we should, in this circumstance, work together to curate the seeds for the rumor mill. If we are to plant lies in the information web, the lies need to have some substance of truth, and they need to be appetizing. The best way that this kind of smoke screening technique will work. And this is where me talking to you comes in. I'm sure that amongst every industry in this city, you oversee things at the airport and the automotive industry here in San Antonio. I myself am a member of the fashion circles. I know that Benji here and you, Albert, have your own circles that you run in. And I'm sure in each of those circles there's probably a snitch, and if there isn't, there's someone who reports to. So I post this to you, that you assist in the endeavor of planting these seeds of deceit, of creating this sweet-scented smokescreen for our enemies. And in that we might perform the will of the baronies and protect our city from the oncoming threat.
The protection of the city being the highest priority.
Exactly right.
You have ideas, or do you need time to ruminate on them?
I have some things in mind, but the specifics are going to have to wait until I make first contact with this deacon. I need to assess what it is that we're actually dealing with here. An officer of the law comes in many flavors, and I must figure out which one he is.
Then, and he pulls out a card from his jacket. Then you will if you would like to talk, contact me directly. This is the number to my secretary's desk. You may tell her that you have an appointment, and she will see it through.
Thank you very much. I will keep that in mind for both professional and personal endeavor. And she'll slide that into the probably into her cleavage. Dresses don't have pockets, man. Dresses don't have pockets. But I think it's interesting, this.
Interesting.
Yes. I'm just curious as to the bigger picture here.
There's always a bigger picture.
And we look over the picture of this city and why the enemy may be coming. But there must be a bigger picture than this. Something that puts everything into perspective. And I think us not knowing what that is hampers us.
I don't know, it seems like your friend Mr. Doyle is a big picture kind of man.
Mr. Doyle is a bigger picture kind of man than I think any of us would ever be able to fathom. I'd like to say that I know what's going through his head at any one point in time, but he is a mystery wrapped in an enigma, that one.
We all are, to an extent.
Well, to an extent, but his extent goes much further than any of us, I am sure.
Makes him intriguing,
I'm sure
does it not?
it does. Benji, you've been quiet. What say you on all of this?
Well, first of all, I haven't had any official chance to introduce myself. Hello, gentlemen. My name is Benji Cortez. Nice to meet you. And he holds out his hand for a handshake for both of them.
And they both shake your hand.
Fantastic.
Actually, reminds me, I have forgotten my manners, and for that I apologize. I am Amber Dupree. It is a pleasure to meet you both.
It is a pleasure, Miss Dupree. And Albert says, pleasure, ma'am.
Now, Benji, what do you think of this?
Well, my initial thoughts is, Dren, you have a jurisdiction over the airport, therefore incoming individuals. Above everyone else in this situation, I think you have a better eyes and ears to the ins and outs of the city. You have a more... Was it Dren or Albert?
Dren, who
Dren.
oversees the airport, yeah.
You have more access to incoming information, and as well as being able to notify of, so to speak, intrusive individuals.
Anytime there's an anomaly, I know of it.
I think it serves both of us to be able to have an access of communication. Albert, I haven't really had much conversation with you.
I'm Albert Carson, child of Angela Batista, and mostly just do a lot of helping around.
lot of helping around. Like,
You know, as in making sure things stay exactly the way they are.
that's
Keeping
excellent.
keeping ripples from spreading too far.
Consistency and cleanup.
More along the lines of making sure things stay consistent so that they don't need to be cleaned up.
That's valuable.
Exceptionally.
Extremely. Between you two, I see a lot of capacity. Batista has wonderful support on her side.
As does Baron Delgado, Albert says.
Thank you. um, as far as any sort of coordination going on, I believe there's a lot of pertinent work on everyone's sides that does need to be attended, individual work. But as Amber and Urien both have mentioned, being able to coordinate together will be an advantage. And I hope to be able to speak to you gentlemen in the future.
Urien did say that if we needed to reach out, we come to the sanctuary and leave a mark.
That is normally how he does things, yes.
So should we need any of your assistance, then we shall make an effort to reach out.
Fantastic.
Good.
Provided,
I think
I'm sure you fine men have everything covered. But I appreciate your availability.
And I think formation of this foundational information network below the normal rumor mill will be beneficial for keeping this city safe.
That it will.
It is. The night gets long in the tooth. There's such.
You are not wrong. It is getting late. We shall not keep you out late enough that you have a risk of being caught out in the sun.
Right. My thanks.
And
Our thanks.
And with that, the both of them make their way to leave.
Amber will exchange some leaving pleasantries with them as they leave.
Of course.
And after they are gone, we will. Amber will stand and stretch before looking to Benji and offering her hand to head towards the elevator.
Right. Benji takes his hand and just walks on over with her, side by side.
Benji, you're still in a jacket and shirt and tie that is covered in vitae.
Ah, you're right.
What do you do about that?
He he takes off the overcoat to the tuxedo and checks his shirt underneath to see if there's any particular bloodstains.
There are. Up near the collar.
Bummer.
Same with the tie.
Benji looks over to Amber. Do you have a spare in the car?
I always come prepared. It's not as tailored to fit as that one, but I did think that if things got messy, that it would be a good idea to come prepared with a spare change of clothes. And luckily for you, I know a dry cleaner, so we can get those cleaned with no muss, no fuss. But Benji,
Yes.
may I speak frankly with you for a moment? She's not
Sure.
looking at him. She's looking straight ahead at the elevator doors as she says this.
It takes
She
about
just
5
looks over
minutes
there.
for the elevator to get up anyway.
She just kind of half glances at him, gives him a side glance, and goes, "That was hot." And she then just continues to look forward.
Uh, 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 the, thanks. Thanks.
Amber resists the urge to giggle at that little response, and she just smiles and so goes, "It's no problem. I simply call things as I see them."
He has a
Yeah.
He is a juicy looking morsel, isn't he, Amber?
He is not in the way of consuming him in at least in that fashion.
Why not every fashion?
I guess he is like a fine wine to be savored, aged. I mean, not that I would know anything about fine wine, but from what I hear. I'll just head back downstairs and
It takes about 2 or 3 more minutes, in silence if you choose to, for the elevator to come back, for you to press for the doors to open, and another long 5-10 minute ride down. Do you say anything more?
no, Amber just has this ghost of a smirk eternally plastered onto her lips.
Benji, very obviously, has a nervous smile. Tonight was good.
Very much so. Tonight was a very good night. We'll meet up with Urien downstairs.
Urien, are you down in the lobby waiting for the other two? Or did you simply go and escort
No, I will.
Delgado?
I will wait for them once I'm sure that Delgado is safely on their way, double checking his vehicle as it should be.
The driver assists you after the limo drives up. All of you, the Baron is let into the back of the limo. He says his goodnights to you, and the limo leaves. And shortly after the limo leaves, Benji and Amber are leaving the lobby of the building.
Presumably Benji with a new shirt.
Benji without a shirt until he gets back to the car.
Yeah. Gotta get back to the car.
Someone looks like they had a fun night out.
Benji kind of like holding all of the shirts and things in front of him and just waddling over to the vehicle. of all the times to have modesty.
Amber's amusement only grows.
I'm going to get into the vehicle. Yeah, I just want to return to Haven before the sun.
Yes. Good idea.
And so you're going back to the Haven?
Oh, yes.
Yes, it is getting time for day's sleep.
That it is. And so the three of you in your vehicle make your way back to the house. It's very quiet. Randolph seems to have gone to bed, and there is no sounds coming from M's room.
I double check M is still still in the house.
When you knock on her door, she does answer you. How did the night go?
Splendidly. I just wanted to be sure you were alright. I don't feel I could rest knowing they did not check on you when I returned.
Well, I'm here. I'm not going anywhere.
Fantastic.
I know I scared you all before. I'm not going anywhere.
Nay, it's quite alright. I'm going to go downstairs and I think I'm just going to try and read for the rest of the evening. This evening has exhausted me greatly.
You look exhausted, so
Be well, Em.
good night. And she closes the door.
I head back downstairs. I'm not looking to engage in conversation, but I'm not looking to hide away either. I simply turn on that little lamp on the stool or on the counter, and I begin to read the books that I've gotten from your counterpart. Philosophy, maps, even a brochure, one for Houston. Trying to get a better understanding of the city itself, the staging point. I never have time to do what I wish. Instead, it's being ahead of the game.
Is there anything anyone else would like to do before they go to day sleep and start a new
Yes.
day? Yes.
Yes. Then she goes to Amber's room, knocks on the door. It's a really light tap, just with the back of his knuckles.
Yeah.
Hey, can I talk to you for a moment, just privately?
Sure, the door's open.
He slowly just kind of waltzes in and pushes the door a little more closed. Doesn't completely lock it, but rather just has the door tapped to the wall. Um, he looks around Amber's room, sees all these little details. It's basically like Instagram ready.
Lighting setups, beautiful artwork on the wall, posters.
Yeah, all the works.
Mm-hmm.
Even the duvet for the bed is nice. Huh. Oh. Um. Hey. This is kind of awkward. How am I supposed to be taking the compliments from you specifically?
Amber's face. A smirk begins to settle on her lips, and she looks up like, compliments from me specifically. In what capacity, Benji?
Well, I mean, how am I supposed to be reading this? Are you doing it just to be nice, or he looks down for a moment at the floor? He's really bashful about it, but looks from a side eye. Can
Amber
I expect more?
Amber kind of chuckles, and she looks at she looks Benji up and down. And she says, Benji, dear, have you ever known me to be a nice person?
I, you know, I don't know if and for what. I don't think any of us are nice, frankly.
Alright, let me put it to you. Alright. But
But I think he starts slowly stepping closer that I do enjoy the compliments you give. Maybe it's a bit inflating my ego. And he stops just right in front of her.
inflating just your ego. And she raises a brow.
A bit. Well, I mean, I haven't tried anything else. I mean, there's more exciting things going around all the time. But right now, you're pretty exciting.
My dear, I'm glad that you think so. Truly, it warms my dead heart.
He cinches to one side. Just be clear with me. If you don't want this to go any further, you draw that line now.
Benji, I don't see a reason to draw a line.
He goes in for a kiss, and will fade.
Yep. Well, she ain't denying him.
If you're feigning sex, you have to rouse for it.
No. I just don't want to do this anymore. Got the point across. Good enough.
Good enough.
Ugh.
And
Ugh.
so, so the night ends. The both of you go back to your rooms, and the day sleep takes you. The sun rises. The rest of the world gets about their business. And then when sunset comes, around 9:30, you all wake again. And I will need rouse checks.
God damn it, Benji.
Hi.
You want more. You want more. That vitae from Rascal wasn't satisfying. You need more. It was so delicious. It was like a cake with the most decadent frosting. Amber, it seems that your own dinner from last night isn't satiating you for very long. But Urien, you're not getting any hungrier. It's thankfully as quiet as you left it last night. And the three of you awake to a new night. What do you intend to do?
Well, I already know that when they end up, I'm surprised, truthfully. Usually I'm awakened by the others, but now I'm a little concerned. Usually they're awake for me. I reach and grab hold of one of the stakes we carved earlier. I keep it near my bedside just in case. Creep throughout the room, looking about. Eventually, I check Benji's room and there's nothing there. I check. Am is okay. So when I approach Amber's room, I open the door. And to my horror, I see them. Oh, children, there's so much blood! Oh. Oh. Repulsed at this. Just kind of closes the door. In that same manner he imagines human mothers have when they end up walking in on their children pleasuring themselves. This is not what I did. Starts to walk away, hides the stick. Well, I guess with that in mind, I need to end up getting in touch with my own blood. Hopefully theirs is a lot less messy and not requiring 18 hours of dry cleaning.
One can
What
only hope.
was with the ropes?
So yeah, the two of you, the two of you are awake and see Urien barge into the room, and then barge out of the room, and there you are.
And all you hear is, what's with the ropes? So much blood.
Herb is just sitting there. Just with a stoic look at her face for a moment before it's just oh, my, that is great. Hey,
Benji woke. Oh, go ahead.
hey, Benji, should, uh, should you tell him? Or am I gonna tell him?
Benji woke up to Urien screaming, and as Amber speaks to him, he's just his legs over the bedside with his head in his palms. Slowly pulls down his face like, oh god. You know, I think we both know I don't know how to talk about this stuff. And he gets up and heads to his room.
Well, then I've got it then. Oh, makeup time! And Amber will go about her morning makeup routine. Well, evening makeup routine. Just amused. There's this little spring in her step. And she is very amused right now. Exceptionally amused. But that amusement is also tinged with a little bit of purpose. Tonight is a night where she's going to begin laying the groundwork for this foundational information network. And that starts with Gin.
That it does. So, you finish up with your makeup and your other nightly routines as Urien goes about his nightly routines. Benji, what does your nightly routine consist of?
Oh god. You know, at some point along the line, thinking more so when they moved into the new coterie house, he's kind of stopped doing the whatever workout routine because he's starting to realize it doesn't actually matter what condition his body is going to be in because it's always going to be in the same condition.
One of the perks and drawbacks of being a dead thing. You can never really build it back up. But it never stopped being what it was. Or does it?
Only shitty. Yeah. I've had a little too much excitement.
Maybe a little too drunk on Vitae.
A fucking little bit. Frankly, I need to go cool my goddamn head. So, honestly, I'm gonna go check on those dudes. I'm gonna go let them know what's going on. More or less from what I gathered at the tower last night. I can presume, perhaps, that I have permission to move them. At least for the security purposes we need. So let's start with that. I'm thinking if we know how to lure. If we know how to lure him in. I'm thinking if one of these guys, at least one of these guys out of this group, I can convince to lure this Deacon Johnson in with, then Amber can follow through with the rest. We just have to make it look convincing.
Does Amber know this plan?
Come to think of it, no. But I need to touch base with those men first. So, while they're doing that work, rather whatever work they're doing, I'll go ahead and do that, exchange numbers, and then we'll move from there.
Alright. Urien, you made a mention intention of wanting to get back in touch with some of your own blood?
Yes. I think it's about time I sat down with Carlos.
Had a real heart-to-heart, sire to child.
Well, it also helps that, given some of my proclivities and what have you, I'm going to take a small amount of the resources I have. See if I can end up at least assisting in rearing his own kind. He's not detached yet. And as much as everything inside me screams to get him away from his family, I am trying to be kind. Trying. I said I would take care of it.
So who would like to go first as far as what they're going to do tonight?
Well, I suppose I can go first.
Alright. So Urien, you make your usual nightly phone calls. Nothing so far has changed. But you make your way to the old meeting house. And when you get there, you do see that Carlos is still in fact there, and so is the Thin Blood Fox. They stayed an additional night.
Yes, Fox.
Hello.
Well, good evening, Fox. Good evening, Carlos. It's good to see you again. I hope that you have both rested well.
Fairly well, yeah. Yeah, I'm good. I'm sorry, I didn't ask if I could stay longer. You were out all night, and I didn't know exactly how to reach you otherwise.
He raises a hand to gesture for Fox to be silent. Fox, have you fed this evening?
Not quite yet. But I can manage that by myself. I don't need help.
I will make a deal with you in that regard.
Okay.
You seem nervous.
Well, you said that usually well, last time that you talked, you said something about settling into a haven, or something. I don't know.
I am currently disposing of particular individuals who have threatened your life.
Disposing. Okay.
Recently, it had come to my attention that particular haunt had ended up threatening all of our livelihoods. For the sake of those who are under my protection and my domain, would not end up allowing him to continue existing. I had Benji tear him to pieces in front of the barons.
Oh my.
That is the punishment for anyone who would touch someone who is under my protection. We protect each other. We build from one another. We invest in one another. You had to stay an extra night. Without permission. When things are done without permission, you know the cost, yes?
Yes.
Then, request the ability to make it paid. He gestures as though waiting for Fox to speak.
Okay. I would like to pay my debt.
Fantastic.
Carlos just looks
Then-
a little confused.
Take the night. Feed. Feed till you are full, but do not leave a corpse or evidence. Preserve our masquerade, first and foremost.
I can do that.
When you do, I will take a small sampling. So be sure to get your fill. In recognition and gratitude of your... well, want to end up remaining for safe haven from this dreaded sun. I permit you another night in this meeting place of mine.
Okay.
A small amount of time. You get what you need. Now, what were you and Carlos discussing while it was I was away?
Well, it was more along the lines of, he's newer than me.
Yes, he is.
And
But he
Carlos
also
just kinda
does
looks
not
a little
have...
embarrassed.
Carlos, this is not the Camarilla. The age does not matter. I could make the argument that Carlos's blood is thicker than yours, Fox. That you are not a true kindred.
For all intents and purposes, I kinda look human.
Yes. And because of that,
Like, I feel human.
The
I don't
Camar-
feel different.
and because of that, the Camarilla would have you dead.
What's the Camarilla?
One of the threats that I am involved in seeking out and removing, so that you don't have to worry about it.
Okay.
For now, Fox, the only thing you need to worry about is feeding yourself until you are gorged like a tick. Present your offering, and know that you have safe haven so long as you do not create complications in Sanctuary. And once I know that you can do so consistently without fail, more rewards will be offered to you for further service, should you choose to. I punish the guilty, but I end up trying to be fair. And I think I've been more fair to you than most kindred would ever be. The one whose blood is so thin.
Yeah, it's been rough so far, so I really don't have anywhere else to go.
And so I will make you a place to go. That is what I must do. That is what I create here. It's not much, but it is a start.
Are you... I don't want to impose, but is that open invitation to anybody else who's like me?
should they present, so long as they understand that the sacrifice is, as you already know.
I'll let
But
them
I
know.
have never, ever taken from another who was not already crossing the line. Seeking, if you are wishing for less misunderstandings to happen, then perhaps you can take the responsibility of finding the others
I know of
and
one other
letting them
person.
know. Good.
Besides Alfonso, I know Alfonso too.
Alfonso is a good child. Strong. An ambassador, as far as I am concerned. And showing even one whose lineage is so watered down can still have the strength to endure quite some time. Alfonso has earned my respect, if nothing else. It's a task very few in this city could ever claim.
Okay. I'm gonna
I
get to it
will. Fox, a useful thing that you might need to know.
then.
Let it also be known that I am swift to punish those who cross me, and those who cross those in my protection. I would sooner have them staked as nothing more than a carcass on a piece of wood with a single nail driven through their skull to wait for the morning sunrise, if they were to so much as touch something that belongs to me.
Got it.
And that includes you. I would not have you touched.
Got it.
Be gone with you. And take your fill. And enjoy the evening, dearest Fox.
They nod and leave the house.
He locks the door and waits to observe, making sure that Fox is gone, has not tampered with any of Urien's things.
Nope.
He kind of looks around, senses the unseen, trying to look for bugs or anything else that Fox might have planted.
You take a look at everything.
This includes sense the unseen.
And there's nothing to detect aside from the ward that protects this house.
Fantastic. Carlos, he pulls out a chair and pats the seat to a gesture for him to sit.
And he does. That was an interesting conversation to watch.
It was necessary. What did you think of it?
Well, it's not unlike what you've done for me, so...
Speaking of which, he reaches into his bag and pulls out a roll taped up of bills, places it in front of Carlos. It's not much right now, but it should keep your daughter fed, roof over her head, and the chance to get some ice cream.
Her mom doesn't let her have ice cream.
Well, that may be, but I promised you.
She's on that
I would
vegan
go.
diet or some shit.
But I promised you. Did I not?
Yeah. And he takes
I-
the roll and stuffs it in a pocket.
How are you doing right now, Carlos? Be truthful with me. And do not think that you can shock.
Well, this is tough to get used to, this being awake only at night. Not going to work. Having...
I imagine you hate me quite a bit still.
Can't say
Do
that,
not deny it.
can't say that there's a love for it. You killed me,
You're one of...
and you threatened my daughter.
That's correct.
So why
You
in the
know
fuck are
the
you paying
lengths.
for my daughter's wages? What is all of this? You're like two-faced.
I have many more faces than two.
I don't doubt it.
But it is not two-faced. I am just more honest with my nature than most.
That nature being that voice in the back of your head, right? Like you said.
Partly. The other part is listening to the thing that says, I think I want to sit in a comfortable chair. I think I want to listen to a radio or enjoy the laughter of a child. Those things arguably more important. And the burden I bear is I am teaching a child. You're my responsibility. In this world, most would embrace and throw you away. If I were smarter, I would kill you quick. Or simply say off with you and let you discover what you are on.
But that Benji guy, he's the reason that you didn't, right?
Continue with that thought.
I mean, he was the one who was being like I don't know, he was being super nice and
Benji feels responsible for you.
yeah.
What you became is because of a small mistake of his, and one I had to enact upon. In doing so, he forced my hand.
But you don't want me here.
If I did not want you here, I would not have killed Rascal.
Rascal. Who's Rascal?
Where your drugs were coming from.
I went through a manual and he went through a guy called Ghost.
Ghost is the name of Rascal.
So he's gone?
He is a stain because he put you, the fox, in danger. He put your daughter in danger.
Alright. Good riddance then. here. He was a scary piece of shit anyway.
Thankfully, you're the son of the devil.
The son of the devil. Was that the whole reason behind the pentagram?
No. This is decoration, statement. I told you I play many faces, many names. Does this not sound familiar?
That's true. The devil has many names.
They know me as Mr. Doyle. Or Urien. To you. There is a name I wish you to say, but I will never force you to say it. Because I am trying to do this another way.
Okay. Kind of leans back and crosses one leg over the other and kind of folds his arms, looking a little more casual but still kind of guarded.
Tonight, I would know you. I would know my child. Truly. Be it hate or spite. Be it questions. I will raise you as I have been raised. And I will try to do better. I want to give you the chance the very few, like your friend Fox there, never had.
Sounds fair. Is it like 20 questions or something?
However you wish to proceed. This is unknown territory to me.
Okay.
Unless you want me to revert to old ways.
Well, I have no idea what that even is, so...
Old ways is you speak out a turn, I break your arm. You speak when spoken to. You say what you are told to say, you do as you are told to do. If you so much as question or end up making it a point of throwing a fuss, it would leave you in agony and starving until you are sufficiently docile to be able to end up handling. I would be responsible for feeding you from my own veins. I would be responsible for any action you took, so it must be that I have you under lash and key at every step until you are crafted in the image I have made you. And then, when I feel you have served me to all purposes of which now I have no more need of you, I cast you away to end up saying that now it is your time to shine. Reality is I am just spreading my own influence through you.
Sounds like a slave relationship for the person on the under boot.
To some. But you remember when I brought your daughter that impulse?
Yeah.
What that upbringing does is put that in lashed as well.
Yeah, that was scary.
It is. And I would see it brought to heel. I know you cannot control it completely. You never will. But you can be crafty. You can keep it controlled. And you can build an echo of a life.
Alright. Well, what do you want to know? Name's Carlos Vives.
You want to see Julie grow up. You want to see her have children, your grandchildren.
More than anything.
Your children. But I want to put something in the mind for you, Carlos. Not only will you see them, you will see your great-great-great-grandchildren. And their grandchildren's children. You will be there maybe longer than your entire life.
That's a long time.
If it's something you wish. So you must ask yourself first and foremost, what is it that I want? As, what did my friend once call it? The free living dead. What would you really want?
See Julie grow up. See what kind of woman she turns into. Be a disappointment. Be my pride.
And so we both must learn to become good fathers from distance.
Yeah, I suppose so.
The way I was raised. Term you have heard. Was a point of respect and honor. My sire. I am remembered him fondly. He often spoke of this concept. Chivalry. True chivalry, not what you see in movies. Not the may I take your coat, ma'am. Not true chivalry.
What was their
I
name?
think I own. He pauses for a moment. Thinks back. Vidia Corda.
They still around?
Yes. Yes, they are. Out in Jordan, I believe.
Jordan.
The country.
Yeah, that's a long way away.
And you notice I don't carry a phone with me.
Yeah, it's gotta be tough.
It is. I was at their side. I was at their side for 30 years. Every move they made, I watched. I learned from. Everything I am, everything I became. I am grateful to them in their greatness. I only tried to live up to that. You may not believe this, Carlos, but in truth, I don't remember much of my kind life anymore. Sometimes I forget that we come from them.
How old are you?
Enough.
That's what somebody
Enough.
says when they're old.
suppose so. I look your age, but an old man.
That's a weird concept. Never aging. You look like you're 18.
Yeah, it is true. But you see, Carlos, I want to teach you. I do. But there is a very real fear I have. But as my child, you deserve to know it. There's a fear in every creature that grows old. Kind have children with the knowing that they are going to die someday. And so they are perpetuated through their child. I am not made for dying. I know I've tried it twice.
Twice?
That is a long story. Now,
Sounds like a
let's
crazy
just say it
story.
didn't take. I think most would say the same about yours. But the key is that you are replaced. The young will consume the old. The older you get, the more you realize that every child you make is another predator that is looking for your downfall. And you, so young, have more reason to kill me than anyone else in this city right now. And if given the chance, you may wish to turn on the big devil removed from the field, chance to run off with your daughter. Give her a new chance away from this madness. I know this idea has already crossed your mind. So what am I?
What or what?
What am I to do? Knowing this.
Well. Logically. Your safest bet is just to get rid of me. I was tied to Rascal.
Yes. To a degree, that is true.
Before I even knew what any of this was. And I'm just,
You are all threat, all liability.
yeah. Regardless of whatever kind of reassurances I give you, if you could even believe them. You have no reason to believe me. Anything I say out of my mouth. And I'm a terrible liar.
That is true. But my child, nevertheless, I cannot bring myself to destroy you now.
You've gotten attached. And Whether I like it or not, I have conflicting feelings. Because on the one hand, something inside me is just like, no, this guy is cool. He's helping Julie. He's my sire, whatever the fuck that means. And there's that, and then there's this is the fuck who killed me. This is the person who threatened me. This is the person who threatened my daughter. This is...
I will give you some insight into that. We call it the blood bond. Remember how I said it is not unusual that you would feed from me. He raises his hand like as if he's looking at his fingertips. A single drop is all it takes, and it instills in another an attachment. It is the closest to love that we can truly feel. Feed too frequently, and their every whim you will treat as command. While your blood is thinner, and our own personal curse makes this difficult, more so than others. We are still capable of it. What you're feeling is that those good feelings will go away. And then I will be dealing with the Carlos that wishes me gone and dead. But I promised to teach you, and I am trying another way.
Right.
I suppose. Have I not just taught you?
Well,
I have taught you 3 lessons this evening.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
A small amount of responsibility. Something to keep yourself focused. The thin bloods. The thin bloods. You are close to them in power, in strength. But in knowledge, you already know more than they do.
I find that hard to believe.
Well, first of all, you know their blood is thin. You have abilities they do not. You don't need to breathe air. You don't have to worry about getting shot. You don't have to worry about drowning. To some thin bloods, they must. I also know another secret, that if it were to ever get out amongst thin bloods, you would be in great danger. So just know that thin bloods are dangerous beyond compare. Despite everything you'll see.
That's fair. Most people can be dangerous.
They will be dangerous because they will be desperate.
Isn't desperation the thing that kind of fuels that thing in your head?
Partly. But it goes much further with them. I will speak more of it as it becomes relevant. For now, just know that Fox is simultaneously less dangerous than you and more dangerous than you.
I'll be vigilant.
I want to do better by you. So how do I do that?
just having conversations and knowing that you're a person. Not just some guy, but a real person. Helps.
I was once a real person.
Yeah, but talking to me and being honest. I mean, regardless of whether or not we're actually alive or not, that doesn't make a person. That's but talking and helping me understand you, your reasoning, your like, I don't know why it is that either of you felt that I had to die.
Because you knew a name.
Names are names.
Names are power. Names are identification. Names are a way to start asking questions. And we exist in secrecy. The more lax we become, the easier that secret becomes. And then we are all in danger. The first rule, Carlos, above all else, our existence must remain hidden. It must be masqueraded. If the kind were to find out, we would be back in the Middle Ages. Back with witch hunts, burnings, righteous inquisitions. They would come in. Urien looks out the window. And every word he's saying it like he was there. They'll start during the day. Kicking the door to splinters, and there will be smoke and fire. When you arrive, you'll be lucky if you have enough wits about you to know what's going on, lest the beast take over. The beast in its desperation will be driven out. You will either burn in the home or burn in the sun, fleeing. Maybe you'll try and attack them, take a few of them out, just to get a little bit of payback, to die in peace, but you will die. But that won't be enough. They'll come after your children, knowing that they are yours. They will come after your ex-wife. They will question and potentially torture everyone you ever spoke with, trying to find out who you created, which one of them are something like you. Regardless on if you've embraced or not, they must purge our existence. They will burn you, and if you are lucky, you will die that night. You can't fight something during the day, merely survive it. And they will burn you. They will kill you. And reduce everything you love to ash. And if you're very, very lucky, you'll die before knowing that. So you will pardon me if you knowing my name was enough to have you killed versus knowing that there was a chance that I could have every kindred in this city killed. because that's all it ever took. And we have the history to prove it.
Secret societies and all that. Yeah, I guess that makes a lot of sense.
I am angry with Benji in that he caused me to do that. That you had to be dragged into this. But despite the mess, I make the most of situations. And despite your life being cast into a mess, I am here to clean it up. Whereas everyone else would tell me to kill this child. I am trying to be better. But when the time comes, I have no doubt you'll see me far worse than you think you could possibly imagine.
I doubt it would happen right away. But I don't want to be like that. I don't know. On a lot of those points, I agree with you. But I'm still here. You don't want to do that. And so long as we have a mutual working arrangement, then I won't have a reason. Right?
That's not how this world works, Carlos. This world works on fear, on casualties. The knowing that the moment someone steps out of line, a chain of events will end up coming with a swift and terrible vengeance. That the reward is simply to continue to exist. I am trying to find a way to spare you from that. Yet I can think of none. For all the genius that others would claim of me. Honestly, I feel like a new maid Ancilla. What we would call you, childe, is a fledgling. One who is not the best to think of it as a baby or as an infant. And Scylla is what you would refer to as a teenager or a young man.
Okay.
But as you can imagine, the time scale of that is significantly stretched. The first 50 years of my fledglingdom were the most painful. I always felt like I could do more. Please, let me do it. Let me do it. Let me prove. Ironically, the thing that was most dangerous was the fact that I didn't learn patience.
You not being patient?
No. So, Carlos, tonight, so you know it's coming, I will feed from Fox. If I did not have the urge to speak with you, I would have had you feed with them, so I could feed from you both. My taboo, as it were, my weakness, has to become a strength, a trust. When I feed from kind, I do not have the choice. I must kill.
That's kind of extreme.
Such is the curse I wear. And now you know something most don't. You have power over me, which is a fear every sire has of their child.
Well,
You are the only one in the city to know.
so you're trusting me with that?
I'm giving you an opportunity to think how to use that. To find a way to show me you can stand on your own 2 feet, but do not be impatient. I believe my childer to develop a wisdom beyond their years. To be able to see things better than those around. To truly understand what has happened without being told. But that is quite a few decades away. And right now, we only have the present.
Yep. Only the present. Well, is there something that you want in exchange for that? Because I don't know exactly what it is that you... I mean, you're telling me that you want to do it differently. You don't want to end my existence, but you have no guarantee, I guess, without my word, and my word means nothing, that, I'm not just gonna come after you one day.
That's right. I figure this was less dramatic than me placing a sword on the table and offering you my neck.
But that's essentially what you're doing.
He nods.
I don't like hating people.
I know this may come as a surprise, but neither do I.
You seem like a decent enough guy.
No.
You're
I am not a decent enough guy. I am the devil. That is the role I have been cast in. And so I must play my part.
A role you chose for yourself?
No.
Why do you wear it?
Why do you still call yourself Carlos? Carlos is dead.
It's been my name since I was born. It's the only name I know.
That name has died. Yet you still call yourself Carlos.
Still me.
And I guess that is part of my riddle. I am what you see.
Are you still you?
To be honest, Carlos, I'm never sure on who that is anymore. I know one thing for certain and only one. I am really good at these games. I look at a city and all its moving parts, and I can't stop seeing gears turn and chains pulled, pendulums and pillars, and the flow of traffic and people and blood and commerce, and I look at it all in magnificent glory. And I see things. I see things in people nobody wants to know. Nobody wants to acknowledge. And so when I came into this, he kind of presents himself. What could I be other than the devil?
Remaking yourself.
He nods. Into what? I am still discovering.
Well, then I guess that's what we have in common, you and me. I'm figuring all this shit out by being new. You're figuring all this shit out by being the devil when you don't want to be. But people reinvent themselves all the time, so.
Yes. I like to think I got really good at it in my time. I might call myself Carlos next time. Something to remember you by.
Hopefully, I'm not dead at that point.
You're already dead. We've already crossed that bridge.
Well, dead. Like,
True death.
not existing. At all.
The true death is what we call it.
True death. As if death number one wasn't true. It's a lie. It's a whole fucking
It is.
fraud.
It is. And that's the worst part. You know it and you can't share it. Except with other dead men and women.
Walking dead.
Not all dead walk. Some I've seen float around like Casper.
Is that what you saw at the Alamo? I didn't see shit, but
Yes. I see the dead all the time. I know that they cannot enter this home. Specifically because of the wards.
wards.
Yes. You're a wizard, remember, Carlos?
Like Harry Potter, yeah.
Yes, whoever that is.
It's a movie. You should see it. It's my kid's favorite.
I have not been to a movie.
This one's been out long enough that you can get it on Netflix, so...
Netflix.
Oh. You're that old.
Sorry, Carlos. Yes. Back when, in my day, the penny farthing was something unique, and I will admit I always missed the piano playing during movies.
Wow, that hasn't been a
But
thing
back
since
then,
like the 20s. 30s? I'm not sure. That's old. Anyway. It comes on
now
most TVs
the
these
real
days.
question you have to ask yourself is, am I lying to you right now? Perhaps I am not more than 2 decades older than you. Maybe only 1. Who knows? Maybe I got everybody here figured out well enough that they don't know that I've only been at this for 6 months.
I would find the 6 months part incredibly hard to believe.
Really now that's kind of curious because I haven't figured that one out in a long time. You know, this shit's just confusing Aiden from time to time.
Where'd your accent go?
Accent. Brother, you got something else coming. I'm not sure what the hell you're on about, but tell ya. No, I miss catfishing.
Okay, now I'm a little bit weirded out.
You telling me right now I'm still figuring out this whole blood-sucking thing.
Are you fucking with me right now?
No. I'm demonstrating to you.
Right.
I told you I had many names, many faces. This is one that I missed. Still, I want to go over something with you.
Alright.
What we will go over is the first steps to understanding true magic.
Alright.
It will take a lot of study and a lot of time.
I've never been very good at studying.
It is a skill you're going to have to learn. We can forego it, but it is one of the biggest advantages our blood has. One that not Benji, not Ember, not even M, not even our Baron has over us. And it is a key to survival.
Survival's
We'll start with the basics. The most sacred shape, based everything else, is the circle. And from there he starts to draw and begins the lesson. The idea of magic and its truths. The hardest thing, but Urien has one big regret. He knows no matter how much he tries, Carlos will never call him sire. Not the way Urien wishes.
And with that, The scene closes with Urien and Carlos beginning the first steps towards thaumaturgy, blood sorcery. We're gonna take a quick break. Don't go anywhere, anyone. Alright, welcome back, everybody. So, because it is kind of late, we have instead decided that we will save the segments for Benji and Amber for next time. And we're going to go ahead and call the session for episode 6 right here with Urien and Carlos going over the first basics of thaumaturgy for blood sorcery. So we're going to get on to some experience because
Ooh.
we're awesome
Yeah.
like that. So everybody gets one for showing up today for your lovely scenes at the tower, your lovely scene in the bedroom, and
Oh.
Shh, 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 shh.
Are you shushing him, or are you trying to spray him with a water bottle?
Both.
Both. Because this is Spectre.
Okay,
we're
now let's
talking about.
not.
But and then Urien having a wonderful conversation with his childer. So we shall see how these things develop next time. So we also have the three categories for bonus experience, and eventually I'm going to create a bot for audience participation. Who moved the plot the furthest today?
I think Benji was moving a lot of plot today.
There's a lot of personal
Amber's
plot in
plot
that.
was being moved a lot.
Hey, Lamau.
Good job, Benji.
Good job, Benji.
I can already see Spectre like just dying behind the mic. Like, stop it! Stop it!
I can see it. I can see it.
I mean, y'all don't understand. I
you
was
ship
like,
it hard.
God, I was having like a whole meltdown for a sec there. I was like, y'all, I need a break. Posted in chat like 3 separate times. I need a break.
You know, when you're asking me to do a dad joke,
I'm like, please break this tension.
The exceptionally sexual tension.
He brought it back around to the Harry Potter thing. So there you go.
Yeah.
There was some tension relieved in Carlos
There
in that
was.
moment. So
there's so much blood.
so much
Yeah,
blood.
that too.
So much blood. Also, actually, we should kind of resolve that a little bit, though. There is something to resolve.
Uh-oh.
How involved did you get? We don't have to go into specifics, but how involved?
Well, they don't have to fake it because, you know, they're kindred. That's kind of the point of the whole thing.
Right.
But, so, I don't see a need for arouse checks in that regard, since, honestly, like,
they're both humanity
just speaking on
7.
well, it's not just that. It's a
No,
case
humanity
of,
6. Amber's
like,
case.
just speaking on logistics of kindred intimacy.
Mm.
Sex really has very little to do with it. The sex drive basically has been removed and replaced with the hunger drive.
Mm-hmm.
So if you were to mechanically do it, it's more of the need to be together, and probably the closest that you're going to get is a willing blood bond one each. Put them one step of blood bonded to each other. That's how kindred show their intimacy.
It's true. So, are you two willing? Did you go far enough to willingly go under one point of blood bond with each other?
I think Amber's just playing with Benji right now, to be honest.
Yeah.
If she's just playing with him, then and it was
Yeah,
just
Amber was
having some fun.
just playing with them. It would have been what humans would have classified as cuddling and makeouts at the
cuddling
very
makeouts.
most.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's more of a case of like, in humans there's that biological need, but that died right along with your heartbeat.
Right. And so
right?
It's more of an emotional need.
Yeah, it's an emotional need. And that's where oftentimes it turns into a case of, you have to remember, for sex, like for any siren, for instance, sirens use sex as a hunting tool.
Yeah.
Right? That's primarily it. When they flout any form of sexualism in vampire, 9 times out of 10, it's either a form of self-expression or it's them bragging on how easy it is for them to hunt. That's where the power play comes from. So that's part of how a kindred's mind starts to get rewired. So, not like I said, not to say love doesn't exist. It's more of a case of it's a shallow version of what it used to be. It's an echo. So, hence one of the reasons why kindred who are that close to each other will often initiate a blood bond to each other
Yeah,
simultaneously.
blood wedding. Fun.
Yeah.
But no, that didn't go that far. It was just cuddling and makeouts, which is why when Urien made the joke that he did, Amber just started cackling, and it's just like, hey Benji, should you tell him or am I gonna tell him?
There's so much blood. Catfish.
But no,
beautiful.
Benji did move a bit of plot. Given Amber's talking with Dren and Albert, I'd also make an argument for Amber moving the plot.
No, Amber's plot was moved. There was a difference.
Yeah.
Amber was not moving the plot. Amber's plot was being forcefully moved with potence.
With potence.
With potence.
So I'm handedly giving it to Benji.
Yeah, no, that's fair. Give it to Benji.
And I'm gonna make this as awkward as possible for Spectre right now, just to end up making the die of embarrassment on stream.
That's mean. I love it.
Just you wait, Urien. You're gonna get your shot.
No, Benji gets plot mover experience, if we're all in agreement.
Yep. Best scene.
Do we even really need to ask?
I mean, I'm asking. I'm not. I'm the one who's not choosing. It's you guys who choose.
Urien.
I'm not gonna lie, that was an emotional one for me.
Ooh, I was tearing up. I was tearing up with Carlos. Yep.
Just Urien.
Yes.
That's all I need to say.
Okay. But fact of the matter is we need Spectre's vote. I kind of feel guilty on voting for myself, and if there's another one that they want to give.
No, I'm passing it.
Yep, it's Urien.
Urien.
Alright. And memorable quote or line.
Oh, this one's hard.
Either one it's going to be Urien. It's either going to be, after all, I am supposedly the devil, and I do bring hell. Or, oh my god, there's so much blood.
Yeah, no, just, you know what, just, like, 90% of what Urien said this session would qualify, truly, for memorable lines. Like, you were pumping them out like no tomorrow this session. So yeah, definitely going to Urien in my opinion.
And I just passed the sacred number, so now I'm at 70.
Womp womp. Passed up 69.
Yep. Well, to be fair, I've saved that for Amber and Benji. Did you two come back from a very messy feeding? Something
When will
like
it
that.
end? When will my hell end?
You brought this on yourself. You shipped
Well,
it.
the thing is though, Spectre, that's the thing about hell. It's eternal.
So long as we're not actually stepping on each other's toes, right? We're in
We're
jest.
good. We're good. I'm just flustered
Dying.
still.
Dying of embarrassment, that's all.
Because
Yeah,
your
just a
inner
bit.
Benji is flustered. Yep.
But no, memorable one-liner goes to Urien for me. Is everyone in agreement on that one? Because I'm definitely in agreement on that one.
Agreement.
Then Urien, you get the one-liner XP then.
Yep. There you go.
And we're waiting on, I guess we're waiting on the audience.
I don't have a bot set up for that, so I wasn't going to force it.
Okay.
Because I want to
I mean,
set
we
up
have
a
a
bot
vote
for
for
that.
Benji.
Oh, we have a vote for Benji.
Yeah, we have a vote for Benji.
That's the one lone.
Hey,
All
hey,
right.
Hey,
Yeah.
you want to know what? That's your consolation prize because
I will consolation
apparently
prize that. Yeah.
For all my
Take it.
suffering.
For the fact that
You
you
get
two
an
shared
XP,
a
Benji.
very awkward scene, let's go ahead and give Benji the consolation prize from Simba. So,
Yay!
Gold star.
Consolation
Simba.
prize.
thanks, Simba. You're a wonderful human being. But yeah, that does it for tonight's episode. Unless there's expenditures.
I am currently at 14 saved. I need another 6 before I get to my next blood sorcery.
Right. How do you intend to justify blood sorcery for?
I am currently at this point between practicing what I know from the new book that was given,
Yep.
practicing what I know that from the Alamo, and currently going kind of refreshing myself on the basics as I am teaching my protege their first blood sorcery.
Over some time, you'd be able to get him his first dot in blood sorcery. But yeah.
Yeah. But I figure if I can teach him the basics and maybe we can together through this basic shit try and end up working out a ritual that we can both learn. You know, it's a level 1 ritual. I don't think you're gonna fault two Tremere fumbling through to come up with a ritual.
Right. And I did give you the notes on the fact that the book that was given to you, if you wanted to spend the experience to take it, you would be able to claim craft bloodstone from it. So I did give you that.
Yeah, so I think that's going to be a shared thing.
That you're gonna teach
So
him craft bloodstone from that. Okay.
Yeah, and we're both gonna take it.
Perfect.
But we just have access to that ritual.
Yep.
It's just we're breaking it apart.
Yep, you're teaching him the basics.
Yeah. But yeah, I definitely need to get to that point where it's like, okay, I got blood sorcery. I got tons of blood sorcery. I will be happy. Because bluntly,
Distinguished Vitae is your defensive measure as a singular character.
Yeah, and I'm gonna need more.
Yep.
I'm gonna need a lot more if the Camarillo's coming for my sorry ass.
And we shall find out if the Camarilla, if and when the Camarilla actually does come to the city. Thank you all for watching San Antonio by Night, episode 6. Hope you all have a wonderful night, and we'll see you next week for episode 7. Say good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.